Welcome to the RadioU Podcast. Coming up, how my fellow Canadians are trying to get back at Americans.
Also, Kieran Culkin's wife promised him 4 kids if he won an Oscar, and Kieran Culkin said bet.
All that and more on the way next. Last night, an exciting night, for me anyways, was the Oscars. It was a sad night for Hulu subscribers.
Oh, no.
Trying to watch the Oscars. I will get into a recap, but I do want to just, pour one out for those watching on Hulu last night, where the stream of the Oscars ended early, and so they missed out on the biggest awards.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So some people are saying they literally called and canceled or, went online and canceled last night because right before the best director, best picture, best actress, the stream cuts off.
That's awful because obviously you're watching the whole time waiting for those big awards to be announced, and then they're like, sorry, you don't get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly what you're waiting for. Who cared about all the documentary short films or whatever, but you get to the big end and that's what you're hoping for. Now, to save them some time, if you missed any of the Oscars last night, Anora Cleaned Up was the movie that wound up winning a lot. Which was surprising to me.
Yeah.
Because Anora is a very hard R film. One of the hardest R that I've probably ever seen, and one of the surely hardest R movies that the Oscars have ever awarded Best Picture to, I would have to say. It's I just want to make sure everybody is clear if they're like, oh, won an Oscar, I'm going to go watch it, which who even is saying that? But it's to me, it was 3 movies when I watched it.
Okay.
It's the first part of the movie is almost nearly a porn movie.
Oh my
basically.
Goodness.
Just because it's so raunchy and graphic. What's going on? It's about a stripper who falls in love with this Russian rich guy. He's only rich because his dad is rich. They get married, and then the second act of the movie starts, which is, and I'm not going to spoil anything in case anybody does go see it, it gets less porny, but more, it becomes basically like a comedy at that point to me. And then the third act is like a drama, and that was good enough for that to win Best Picture and for it to win Best Director and Best Actress. So that was your Oscar winner, the big winner last night.
I saw that was a big winner, and I feel like over time I kept hearing more and more about Anora, and it was okay, the buzz is growing for this film, so it might actually have a shot. But I don't know if I'm ever going to get those descriptions that you just gave out of my head. That was crazy.
Yeah, well, I just don't want anybody to go into it with the wrong idea.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
This is why I watch all the Oscars movies to
to warn the rest of us.
Other than that, though, their director did give a very good speech about making sure people actually go to the theaters and for directors to make movies that people see in the theaters versus on streaming, which I appreciate. What else? Conan was a great host.
Good.
My favorite bit that he did is leading off the show and during the opening monologue. It closed with him doing a song called "I Won't Waste Time," and it wasn't long, but obviously there, as the joke is that they're trying to get through everything efficiently. Yeah. And then here he comes and totally derails things by going, I'm not singing an entire song about how he's not going to waste time.
It's this is wasting time, Conan.
That's classic Conan, and it was hilarious. But he had some really good jokes in there. There's always I don't know why, anytime there's a long movie at the Oscars, which is always, they have to make a joke about it. And it's just you've used the same joke in the opening monologue of the Oscars about the movie that's over 3 hours long for a decade now. We can make fun of other stuff.
Yeah.
There's plenty to poke fun at. What else was the highlights? You know what? If you tuned in late, you would have been disappointed. And I think a lot of people probably experienced this.
Okay.
The very first thing before you even saw Conan was a Wicked, is when Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo come out. They sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, some other song, and then Divine Gravity. And that was how they opened the show, which was, great. But if that's a showstopper thing that should have been partway through or something.
Right, that was very early.
Everybody who might have been excited, which that would have been one of the more exciting draw things. A lot of people went and saw Wicked and loved it. Why would you have that right at the beginning? So the people are like, if they did tune in for that and they got there in time, they're like, okay, well, I don't need to stick around.
I can leave now.
And the people they tune in late are waiting and going, what happened to the Wicked thing that was supposed to happen? So it was weird. It was strangely laid out. It started strong. It closed kind of strong, but I don't know. It wasn't the most memorable Oscars. I'll say that. There was no slapping. Yeah. There was no mix-ups. So it wasn't the most memorable, but it got the job done.
Sure. I mean, looking over the award winners, which I did this morning, I was like, yep, I don't think I'm going to really remember this Oscars as much as like some of the previous ones. I know we talked about when the nominations came out. It's like, there's no Oppenheimer here. You know what I mean? There's no big film.
That's true. I watched almost every Oscars movie. I enjoyed a lot of them. Not many were on the level of, there wasn't a real home run hitter in this year's crop of nominees, but some very solid movies. So now that we are into March, Allie, we've got something big going on here at Radio U.
Yes, I'm so excited. Nene and I have been working behind the scenes here at Radio U on a really fun project, and that is RadioU Music Madness. We announced it yesterday on our RadioU socials. Make sure and follow us there because that's the main place where you're going to find this. But basically, think March Madness tournament bracket type of deal, but with RadioU artists.
So Nene and Allie were the selection committee. And so they've seeded all of the many great RadioU artists. And the bracket is being revealed as we speak. It's going out over at RadioU official on Instagram, and you can find it on Facebook and whatever your social media of choice is. And then coming up in a few days, once the bracket is entirely revealed, you'll be able to start voting for your favorites and supporting your artists through this. Any complaints about the bracket, then you can send to Allie and Nene directly because it was all their idea.
Yes. You can tell us how we got the seeds wrong and all of that fun stuff. It's subjective, if you will. There's obviously no, and the same thing with the college, basketball tournament. It is subjective. But we're really excited about this. It's going to be a lot of fun. We did this a few years ago, so we're bringing it back for the first time. But it's just a way to have fun and also celebrate so many of the great artists and bands that we do play here on Radio U. So if you're excited about that, as Hudson said, make sure and follow us on socials. You can find it on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll be posting out a link for you to start voting in round 1 starting on March 17th.
All right, get on our socials, let your opinion be known, and help support your favorite artists, and maybe just maybe one of them will win RadioU Music Madness. It'll be all thanks to you. Tomorrow, big day, right? I know what I'm getting for breakfast. Krispy Kreme. Because it looks like they're offering a free donut tomorrow. All you have to do to go to Krispy Kreme with your Mardi Gras beads. You get a free original glazed donut in honor of tomorrow's Mardi Gras. Tomorrow would also be, that means it's like Fat Tuesday. Some call it Shrove Tuesday, I believe. Some call it Pancake Tuesday. So what you must do tomorrow, eat donuts and pancakes in preparation for Ash Wednesday.
Okay. Yeah, I'd heard about Fat Tuesday before. I didn't know what exactly you were supposed to do or eat. I just figured you were just gorging on whatever you wanted to gorge on.
Well, yeah, before you do whatever your fast would be or, the Lent stuff. So this is, I think it's an old, I don't know where the tradition exactly begins, but Pancake Tuesday or Fat Tuesday, they call it. And donuts or king cake is another option, depending on Fashnash is what the specific types of donuts. But you just go to Krispy Kreme tomorrow. I don't think they really care about any of all that. They're just like, hey, come to Krispy Kreme. We'll give you a donut if you have beads.
What type of donut are they giving away? Do they have a special Mardi Gras donut?
No. Just the original glazed donut. The simplest, cheapest thing that they can give you.
Yeah. Nothing special. No baby inside.
However, no. But I can actually top that. Not only do I know what I'm getting for breakfast if I can just find some Mardi Gras beads, I definitely know what I'm getting for lunch.
Okay.
Wait. This is today. No, tomorrow. Tomorrow is Toasted Tuesday at Jimmy John's.
Okay.
Jimmy John's now has toasted sandwiches.
Okay.
And so tomorrow, if you have the Jimmy John's app or you order on their website using the promo code Toasted Tuesday, you can get one of their toasted subs sandwiches for free.
Ooh.
While supplies last.
Nice.
I think the supply will last for most of the day. And I like Jimmy John's is all right.
Yeah. They got solid food.
We get Jimmy John's here every once in a while.
We did the Pickle Witch not too long ago.
We did do that, and it wasn't half bad. My criticism of Jimmy John's is they put on way too much lettuce.
Oh, okay.
But if you order a sandwich, all of these do have lettuce. So if you just order it with no lettuce, or typically if you don't want one of the toasted sandwiches, I get the Cuban, it doesn't have lettuce on it, then you get a really nice sandwich.
Yeah. Their wraps are absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
I had one of their wraps, I think it was their Caesar wrap, has croutons in it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, you would think it's like, what? Croutons? Absolutely amazing.
That just makes sense.
Yep.
It's literally like transporting a salad into a wrap form.
Yep.
So yeah, tomorrow, Toasted Tuesday at Jimmy John's. I really do think I will get one of these and just customize it my way. They have the chicken bacon ranch.
Ooh, yummy.
Chicken, bacon, provolone, tomato, lettuce, onion mayo, and ranch. They also have the roast beef and cheddar, which is roast beef, bacon, cheddar cheese, horseradish, crispy fried onions, tomato, lettuce, onion, and mayo.
Why
I might
are you
do that one.
turning it into a song? Tomato, lettuce.
It's I'm just downplaying the lettuce.
You're like, cheese.
Yeah. And the ultimate Italian, which is capicola, salami, ham, bacon, Parmesan provolone, tomato, lettuce, onion mayo, oregano, basil, and a drizzle of oil and vinegar. Yeah, I think I'm going to get the roast beef and cheddar tomorrow for free. I think I'm going to do it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Toasted Tuesday, baby. Fat Tuesday.
I'll see you there at Jimmy John's tomorrow. Toasted Tuesday. Really excited about all this. And you know, even if it's not that good, it'll taste better because it's free. It's time for our Monday tradition, the box office breakdown, looking at what made money and what didn't in theaters over the weekend. Captain America: Brave New World made a bit more money. It still managed to come in at number one at the box office with another $15 million in North America, which, at this point, it's made $163 million just in North America alone. You think that's good enough?
I mean, I definitely think they were hoping to make more.
Yeah.
So I think, unfortunately, it has not had legs because I've heard some good things, but for the most part, I think word of mouth is just not spreading quite well with it. Mm-hmm. So it just hasn't had that type of repeatability.
Yeah.
Where people are going back to watch it or encouraging people to go watch it.
Yeah, it was, now that I've gotten through the Oscars and whatever, me and Mrs. Hudson were like, what's the next movie we should go see in theaters? And that came up, and it's like, what the new Robert Pattinson, Bong Joon-ho movie.
Oh, yeah, Mickey 17.
Yes, Mickey 17 comes out. I think that's this weekend.
Yep.
And it's like, well, I mean, we'll definitely want to see that over Captain America, which is not good for Captain America. Number two in the box office was Last Breath. That was Woody Harrelson and Simu Liu about deep sea divers, based on a true story, I believe. It made almost $8 million. And then The Monkey came in at number three. It made $6.5 million. If you've seen anything recently, let us know at 8772-RadioU. Send in your reviews. Allie, what's the last thing you watched of note?
So over the weekend, I actually watched. I didn't finish it because we got hoodwinked with the Love Is Blind finale.
Oh, yeah, we got to talk about that.
Yeah, they made us think the finale was coming out this past Friday. No, they added an extra episode that they didn't show you before because they previously would list all the episodes and then would give you the date that it was coming out.
Yeah.
And now there's another one besides the reunion. So I was like, oh, come on.
Yeah, really.
So I watched the three that were released on Friday, and it ends on a cliffhanger. And then I also watched, to get over the fact that I was so mad about that, I watched the first episode of House of David, which is the new show about King David, but really before he was king, on Amazon Prime. And I really enjoyed the first episode, so I'm excited to finish this one out. I think there's about 3 episodes of it right now on Amazon Prime, so it's not all there, but I'm hoping to get through those 3 pretty soon.
So it started off on a good foot for you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first episode.
I've heard pretty good things about House of David?
House of David.
House of David on Prime Video. Obviously, I've watched many Oscar movies in the past several days. I did get through a lot of them. I got through not only all the Oscar movies that were like for Best Picture, but I saw many bonus ones as well. The movie that won Best Animated Feature last night in a bit of an upset is called Flow.
Yeah, I saw that.
Everybody thought it was going to be The Wild Robots, which I also had seen a while back. And I was like, hey, you know what? I don't think I'm as crazy about this as everybody else seems to be. But it did not win. Flow won, which is a movie that has no dialogue. It's literally a bunch of animals. It's like they're going through a flood or whatever. And so the main character is a cat, but it's very cute. It's from Latvia or something like that.
Interesting.
And it is on a streaming service. So I watched that over the week. That was one of the ones that I was able to, another bonus movie I was able to get in. And if you can sit through an entire movie where nobody talks, but you do like cute animals, that's a pretty good choice.
Interesting.
I also did see The Brutalist, which is like over 3 hours long. Adrian Brody won for Best Actor. His Best Actor award, he acted great in the movie. Amazing. He speaks Hungarian and English and blah. I mean, he did great. His Oscar should be taken away.
Why?
Because his speech was so horrible.
Oh,
he goes too long. They start playing him off. He's like, no. He's won before. He goes, no, stop playing me off. I've done this before. I know what I'm doing. And he had to, and then he just sits there and takes forever. Oh, it was the worst speech. Like all-time worst Oscar speech.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it should be taken away.
They're like, we're never letting you back here, Adrian.
Give it to Timothy Chalamet instead. But The Brutalist was a very impressive movie. I don't know if it's easy to say when you watch a movie that's over 3 hours, you go, I feel like that should have been shorter. But what would I specifically have taken out? I'm not sure.
Interesting.
But very visually stunning. And the score is amazing. It won for Best Original Score too. So yeah, The Brutalist, I understand all the hype about that, but it's not for everybody because it is so long. It is absolutely so long. That's your box office breakdown. Let us know what you've seen lately at 8772 Radio U. Interested to hear your thoughts on this, Allie, as a big baseball fan. It seems that Commissioner Rob Manfred of the MLB is considering removing Pete Rose from the ineligible list for the Baseball Hall of Fame. Pete Rose, of course, famously, decades ago, had been caught betting on baseball while he was still in the league, in MLB, and at that point was banned from baseball completely. And he just recently, in the past year, passed away, and now and never got to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, even though he has more hits than anybody. He's the hit king. What do you feel about this, Allie?
Yeah, I honestly have like a love-hate relationship with Pete Rose. He played on the Cincinnati Reds, so close to home for those of us that, are familiar with the Ohio teams. I'm not a Cincinnati fan, but my dad is a big Reds fan. He was loved the Big Red Machine and all of that. So grew up knowing who Pete Rose was and knowing, the legend of him and then obviously the controversy. So I feel like I can appreciate how he was as a baseball player. I do feel like he was very arrogant, full of himself in a lot of moments. And so I don't know. It's just I want him to be honored in some way, but in other ways it's like you dishonored yourself by getting involved with stuff you never should have gotten involved with. So this is a tough one for me because I want like the baseball purist in me says absolutely not. Don't let a person that bet on games for years, into the Hall of Fame. But then the other part of me is like, but this literally is one of the best players that's ever played the game. Yeah.
To me, it's too little, too late. Like, why now, Rob Manfred, commissioner of the MLB? Either, like, to me, if my opinion is I want him in the Hall of Fame. Okay. And if I was the commissioner, that would be like a day one thing. Easy. Like, I think most people would be 1-0. Like, at this point, especially with how prevalent gambling is in the general public, like it was a different thing when obviously betting on your team is different too. As actually recently Donald Trump pointed out, he only bet on his team to win that we know of. So he was betting. It's not like he was betting against himself and throwing games. Yeah. He was betting on his team to win. And yeah, with the way we view gambling now, it's totally different than it was viewed at that time. I feel like it's just a silly thing to leave him out for when you consider all the other, like, all the other things that people have done and all that he did for baseball. He was an amazing player, and I feel like it was wrong that they left him out. I understand why they did it at the time, but it's been far too long. And so I hope that they do lift this ban on him and that he is able to get inducted, but it's still too little too late because he should have been able to see it.
Yeah, he passed away. And that's also a part of it where it's like, at this point, it's kind of for show rather than to, make it up to Pete or something like that. But I do feel like because of his character, in his playing days, this was almost like a karma situation. You know what I mean? Like, because he had this very arrogant and all just crazy ego most of the time, people have not been kind to him, like they haven't had that empathy for him.
I wish we had, I don't want players to bet on games while they're in the league.
No,
but
that is still illegal.
Wish we had, and I do think that when players do that, like I think that in sports they've been too lenient on players that have been caught betting on sports with their teams involved, like Calvin Ridley in the NFL. Too lenient. Like you should know that you can't do that and you should be kicked out of playing. I don't think that should kick you out of being in the Hall of Fame if you had a great career. But I also think that Pete Rose was a great ambassador for baseball, and we should have more players that played the way he did with such intensity, even in the All-Star game.
Yeah, he definitely brought eyeballs to the game.
Yeah. I feel like, well, you know what? I feel like it's just been too long. It's been too long. It's too late, but you can still do things right from now on.
Sure.
And that's what Rob Manfred should do, even though Pete isn't around to see it. Talking about Pete Rose, the MLB might finally now, less than a year after he's passed away, it sounds like they may lift the ban on him that would let him become eligible for the Baseball Hall of Fame, which of course, outside of the gambling thing, like on the field, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Nobody would argue that.
Right.
We had Joe call in. Joe says he basically feels like it's too little too late. They should have done it 10 years ago or something like that, especially with all the ads for betting that you get now. Chris also says, I knew they would do that to Pete. Too late, says Chris. And Allie, I feel like you're a little more tepid on the situation than many of us who feel like Pete should be in. But I feel like you could agree with this, though, that like Pete made some bad choices. He shouldn't have been betting on his team. But because he did that, his entire rest of his life is tainted by that thing that he did.
Yeah.
Like he literally never got to see himself go into the Hall of Fame because the first thing, even though like when he passed away, was the controversial baseball player.
Right.
It's not as much he was the hit king. It was, banned from baseball.
He's rebranded as a guy that was almost like a not straight up guy, like he's just not doing things the right way type of deal. And it's unfortunate that he kind of got branded in that way. But again, these are your decisions. You do need to take ownership for them. But like you said, at the end of the day, he had an amazing impact on the game of baseball. Was he an amazing player? Absolutely. But you have to take the good with the bad with a guy like Pete Rose. And so I feel like there has just been a move of the needle more recently, probably due to the fact that he just passed away, where people have gone back and been like, wow, we really weren't empathetic to him at all.
Yeah.
We were actually completely non-empathetic towards him. We didn't like him. And so we didn't even want to think about the idea of him being in our Hall of Fame. We kind of ignored his stats and just used this as an excuse to kind of avoid putting him in there. But now it's kind of given us all a like hindsight 2020 deal where we're rethinking it. Like maybe we shouldn't have been so harsh on him. Yeah,
I think there's a lot we can all learn from how he was treated, how he had been treated. I think there's also something that we can learn for our own selves about, like, especially with cancel culture has been a big thing in recent years and whatever, that like, in a way, this can make you live in fear of making the big mistake because that could end your life in the public eye or just totally change how people think of you. And that's scary to think about. But what a huge relief in life is, even if you have made that big mistake, is that God he doesn't have that taint your entire life from that point forward. He doesn't write you off. He doesn't take you out of the Hall of Fame because you did something stupid once or over and over again for a long time. There's always hope. God will always bring you back. Unlike baseball with Pete Rose, it's now too late. for him. But I feel like for each of us, as long as we're still around, there's still grace from God that we've made big mistakes, but God is not going to make that define your entire life. There's more to you than that. And all we have to do is ask for that forgiveness and ask for that new future with him, and he'll give it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the beauty of grace. And my favorite line from a Reliant K song is, it says, the beauty of grace is it makes life not fair. Even though we think it's like, this is the way that it should be. We earned, this horrible punishment or whatever. And we shouldn't be given this amazing gift. It's like, that's what grace is. It is an amazing gift, and it makes things it doesn't make them make sense.
Yeah.
Because it isn't fair, but that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. It's we should all be relieved that God doesn't judge us as harshly as we judge others and as MLB judged Pete Rose. If you want to know more about a relationship with God and what that means and that forgiveness and that freedom, start talking to him wherever you are. Go to RadioU.com/free gift. We're going to need a verdict on this case coming from Canada. 8772 Radio U. Get ready to chime in with your thoughts on this one. Here's the situation, Allie. Air Canada is suing a man and his wife after they, as in Air Canada, lost this couple's luggage in 2022.
Okay.
Why are they suing this couple when they lost their luggage?
Right.
Here's what happened. In 2022, Air Canada lost the luggage of Ala and Nancy Tanous. After the luggage was lost, the couple, of course, went ahead and spent a bunch of money on replacing the things that they had brought with them in their luggage that was then lost. They went on a little spending spree. They were initially awarded $2,079 in Canadian dollars from the Canadian Transportation Agency. They told Air Canada, you have to pay this to this couple because you lost their luggage and they needed to buy things, right? Now, Air Canada is trying to overturn that decision in Canadian federal court. What happened was when the luggage was lost, the couple went on their spending spree. I can give you a little breakdown of all the things they bought. They did not get they did not get compensated for all of the things they bought, such as $570 on toiletries, skincare, and makeup. They did spend over $1,000 on 2 pairs of pants, 3 shirts, a single dress, and they spent another couple $100 on lingerie, sleepwear, underwear, jeans, t-shirts, and a custom monogrammed Toomey suitcase. They did not get all of this money reimbursed to them, according to the Canadian Transportation Agency's decision, but they did get over $2,000 Canadian reimbursed. But this is why Air Canada is now suing them. They say, Air Canada claims, they delivered the luggage that was lost to this couple within 24 hours.
Oh.
And so they say that this couple went on a crazy spending spree, but spent way too much. Air Canada shouldn't have to pay all this back, especially when they delivered the luggage within 24 hours.
Right. They ended up with their stuff back. There was no need to reimburse them for anything. They didn't lose anything.
8772 Radio U. Are you siding with the airline here, or are you siding with the couple? Regina says Air Canada is just going to have to write this one off. It's on whomever awarded the money to the couple, as they clearly didn't do their due diligence. I even have a quote on this, Allie, that kind of backs this up. According to the couple that their luggage was lost, the employee of Air Canada at the time informed them, quote, they could spend a reasonable amount. And they considered over $2,000 a reasonable amount.
I was going to say that's different to everybody.
It's debatable. It depends what was in their luggage, right?
Yeah, true.
Lindsay said, okay, but how are they supposed to know when the luggage would get returned, if at all?
Yeah.
Is there a clear amount of time they are supposed to receive their bags by? Also, that is excessive amounts of makeup and skincare.
Yeah, $500. That's crazy.
They actually, speaking of a limit, though, the limit is $2,400 that Air Canada, that was their policy. And so they were forced to pay like $300 less than that to this couple. We heard from Aurora, who said they gave them their luggage back within 24 hours, but did they? If so, why did they approve their reimbursement so quickly? That sounds like the airline's fault to me. Allie, where do you fall on this?
It's tough. I feel like for the first time ever, I'm actually on the side of the airline, which is weird. I should never be on the side of any airline because most of the time they are out for blood.
Yeah.
And this is kind of an out for blood situation. You would just think, as Regina said, you're just going to have to write this off.
Yeah,
this
$2,000.
This is not that big of a deal to them.
Yeah, that's a decimal point to a decimal point for them.
A drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not that big of a deal. But I guess they're just trying to prove a point so that people stop doing this type of stuff. Because I think what they're more concerned about is that it feels a little scammy to immediately go out and spend that amount of money. Because you would imagine if you need toiletries and need a pair of clothes for the next day or something like that, you would go out and you would buy that. But then to immediately go and within like 24 hours spend $2,000 like that, I mean, what everyone's sees as reasonable is different, but to me that's crazy to go and spend that amount of money. But like I said, if you need toiletries and you need stuff immediately, I get going and spending money and expecting that money to be reimbursed. But this just seems a bit excessive, so I understand why Air Canada is like, hey, we delivered this baggage to you less than 24 hours. They literally have a timestamp of when it was delivered to their hotel, and we just think what you're doing is trying to scam us out of this money.
Dee is with you. She says, who spends that much money the day your luggage is lost? Get essentials to cover a couple of days. I'll tell you who, Dee. I would. You would
scam the airline?
If they lose my luggage, and like we didn't know, they did deliver within 24 hours, but you don't know that when your luggage is lost.
Sure.
I once did get luggage lost, and it was when I came home, so they didn't even give me any money or anything for it. And then they delivered it in the middle of the night. I don't even know when it came.
Yeah.
Because I was back at my house and
right.
whatever. But yeah, you hit the jackpot. You spend all the money you can because that's on them. That should teach. This is a lesson they need to learn. If you don't want me spending all the money, don't lose my luggage, man.
Well, I think it's a lesson that Air Canada can learn for sure, but it's a lesson that Air Canada is trying to teach right now with this lawsuit. They're trying to teach people not to do what you want to do, which is to go and try and spend as much money as you can before that luggage gets delivered.
Yeah, but I mean, again, we don't know. Maybe they were going for a job interview, or like they might have needed a lot of this stuff. You need a nice suit. You don't know.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I mean, again, they didn't even have to pay out the full amount that they say is their limit. So I think it's kind of crazy. You just got to write this one off.
Yeah, I don't think they should win the lawsuit, but I also don't think that what this couple did was on the up and up.
Yeah. Yeah. But when you get that lottery ticket, you got to cash it in. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for hanging with Hudson and Allie to get your week started. If you're looking to lose weight,
the long pause.
If you're looking to shed a few pounds, the answer may be at Chick-fil-A. There's a viral meal going around at Chick-fil-A, and if you're willing to subject yourself to this, there's no telling how much weight you can lose. This is somebody in the comments said like 250 pounds. I swear to you. I don't know if that is actually accurate or not, but they said in the comments, there's a viral Chick-fil-A diet meal, high in protein, low in calories. The meal is simply a 3-piece tenders, 2 hot sauce packets, 2 honey packets, and a kale crunch salad instead of fries. You're clocking that in at about 500 calories and 40 grams of protein, and people are going wild for this thing.
Going absolutely wild. I mean, it just sounds like a regular salad with like chicken on it. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of people eat salads like that.
Yeah, but it feels more special when it's from Chick-fil-A. I definitely believe this. I just feel like because people are acting like this would be almost the only thing you eat. You know what I mean? Like this would be your go-to
every meal.
And I think if you're on a diet, and you went and got this from Chick-fil-A, anytime you go get fast food when you're on a diet, it feels like a treat. It feels like you're cheating, even though in this case you really would not be.
Yeah.
But if you were doing it every day, I think it would lose its luster. It would lose the fun factor to me.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is too. It's like if you're going on a diet, you're probably not eating out too often because I don't know if you've looked at those boards on when you're going through a drive-thru.
Yeah.
Don't look at those calorie amounts. They're just going to make you sad. They're just going to make you absolutely devastated because you'll realize one meal is almost the allotted calories you're supposed to have for an entire day.
Definitely.
So yeah, I would imagine if you're on a diet, you're probably not going to Chick-fil-A too much. So it would be a little bit of a treat to go there, and then also to be able to stay on your calorie budget or whatever, stay on your diet to get a meal from Chick-fil-A. That would be a win-win.
Yeah, I feel like I want to champion this because I think it will help people that you can eat at fast food restaurants while you're on a diet. And I feel like for me, that is essential because the less fun I'm having on the diet, the less likely I am to stay on it. You have to give yourself the little wins.
Yeah.
And when the little win like this, even though my wins usually don't involve kale, but if you can give yourself a win more often, and it's actually still, your win is still staying under your calorie count and getting a ton of protein in the process.
Right.
I feel like this is a huge one, a huge W.
Yeah, I think it's all about the balance, right?
Yeah.
And nutritionists will tell you that. It's all about the balance. You don't want to go all in on one way. You know, we talked not too long ago about the guy going all in on the carnivore diet, and that backfired on him.
Yeah, for real.
So it's just like, you need to find that balance in life.
You gotta find it.
And sometimes, especially if you have a family, young kids, you're going to go out to eat every once in a while. You got a lot of activities going on. So you don't want to be locked into a place where you feel guilty after, going to Chick-fil-A or Wendy's and getting a sandwich from there or a salad, because Wendy's salads actually slap. So
they do.
I'm fine.
Although the calorie count on those, even you don't want to look sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. And so, there's really no healthy option. But yeah, don't feel bad about it. But I will say, you know what you get when you replace waffle fries with kale?
Sadness.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yes.
That is exactly what you get.
100%.
Sadness. Only sadness.
But if you replace not eating at Chick-fil-A at all because you're on a diet with kale and chicken, then you get a little happiness. Not as much happiness as come with waffle fries, but more than come with not getting Chick-fil-A at all.
I guess.
By the way, I need some reporting on this. I saw a video recently that says that Culver's salads really slap. I didn't even know they had salads.
I definitely did not know that they had salads.
Can we confirm or deny this? Let us know. 8772 Radio U. I need to know.
So I thought this study was very interesting, Hudson. It's a study from BetUS that polled over 1,000 couples and found that sports-related tensions actually are a real problem sometimes. Around 1 in 4 confessed that sports have sparked heated debates in their relationships. And this is an even worse issue for Gen Z, where nearly 40% of Gen Z couples reported having argued over sports, with 26% admitting they've seriously considered breaking up due to those disagreements. 1
out of 4 Gen Z say that they've considered breaking up because of a sports argument.
Yeah, well, it's less than 1 out of 4 because it's like 26% or whatever. But or I guess no, that would be. But they are getting into those sports arguments and they're like, I'm ready to walk away.
Yeah, that's crazy to me because unless y'all are rivals, then you should know that going into things, right? If you're a Michigan fan, you start dating an Ohio State fan, you know that going into it. Right. But like if you're halfway, if you're into a relationship, like that should be that's something that would either make or break you right off the bat. You know what I mean? So I can't imagine, to me, a fight over like an opinion on sports actually ending things. But I can see this, that if you're watching sports and the other person won't stop talking, like you just want to focus on the game, that can be tough. And so I don't know if that falls under this category, but that's the only thing I can think. And I mean, at this point, married to Mrs. Hudson, I would not break up with her because she won't stop talking while I'm watching a game. But that can be very frustrating.
Yeah, and watching games can be a social setting too. So I don't feel like that's entirely, it should be an issue, but I do know some people that are like, let me focus, or whatever. But I would hope that if you're a couple, you would kind of know each other's, buttons and ins and outs and would try not to press them, especially if they're getting in a heated moment during like watching their favorite team play a football game or something like that. Because some people can get pretty amped up, including me. I can get pretty amped up during a game. So I get that. But definitely I feel like you shouldn't be ending your relationship over it.
No. Yeah, you got to be able to. I feel like even the number of 40% have argued over sports. I don't think that's bad. Because sometimes arguing is fun, especially about sports. Like sports is one of the most fun things. We love arguing about sports here.
Right. And lots of couples love having that like healthy bickering aspect to their relationship. Let it out sometimes. Right. Where you just enjoy kind of egging each other on a little bit. And then it's more cute rather than like angry.
Yeah. As long as the sports argument doesn't like spread its wings and fly into other territories.
Right.
You're like, the Steelers suck and I hate your mom. Like whatever it is,
Like, what the heck? That escalated quickly,
Yeah. They also say, I see here that it says 60% of couples share a bond over their love of sports. I like that.
Yeah, I wanted to add that part in because it leaves it on a little bit of a nice note. Not all bad news after all. A lot of couples actually bond over sports.
Yeah. Me and Mrs. Hudson are definitely like that. I can't imagine what it would be like if, like, that was one of the first things we did bond over. We both were huge NFL fans, and we would watch, get together on Sunday afternoons and just watch games at Buffalo Wild Wings or whatever, and that was how we started.
That's so cute.
That was one of our big bonding things. We'd compete against each other, who would do better at picks and stuff. So yeah, fantasy, everything. So I can't imagine. I don't know if it would have. Had been with people in the past that weren't as big sports fans, and maybe I didn't think about it, but maybe that's part of why it didn't work out.
I doubt it. I'm pretty sure they've just found a different way to bond. But you are in that 60% for sure. You and Mrs. Hudson.
Yeah. One of the highlights from the Oscars last night that we haven't mentioned yet is Kieran Culkin's acceptance speech. He won for A Real Pain. He was in the movie A Real Pain. He won Best Supporting Actor. And Allie, I think you would like this, is, first of all, he started it off by cursing and having to get bleeped on national TV.
And you think I would like that?
No, that's not what I think you would like. But that is very Kieran Culkin.
Yes.
Very on brand. But after that, he gave one of the better speeches of the night where he said, and according to him, this is a true story, his wife was in the audience agreeing with everything he was saying, that he said a while ago that they had a conversation where he was like, I would like to have 3 kids. And she's like, okay, you need to win an Emmy or whatever it was. I don't remember. And so he did that. And I think they still are awaiting to have that 3rd child. But then he goes in the speech, he says, so then I said, I actually think I might like to have 4 kids. And she goes, we can have 4 kids if you win an Oscar. And last night he won the Oscar, so he goes, let's get cracking on those kids. I don't know what's going to come of that. When I was watching the spits, I was like, oh, so he's going to say now he wants to have 5.
He's up in the ante.
What is left for him to accomplish to get to that 5th kid? But I think they've got, at least they haven't had a 4th child.
They haven't had a 3rd child yet.
Yeah. So they've got a ways to go.
Yeah, they have to, as he said, start cracking on those kids.
Yeah, but it was very sweet.
Adorable moment. They're an absolutely adorable couple. First of all, they met on the show Succession, which they're both a part of, which was on HBO. So adorable little meet cute right there. Showmance. But yeah, they're adorable, and I just love it because she's laughing and just like, yep, I actually remember saying that. And he's like, I haven't brought it up since now, but here I am standing with my Oscar. The best picture of him is holding up 4, holding his Oscar with the other hand. I was like, yeah, this is a great moment.
Yeah, it is. It was nice to see in all the Hollywood, like that was one of the realest things of the night. And just to see, you see the Hollywood couples and you kind of like, you just never know, like, what is it actually like? But with them, they just feel like more normal people.
Yes.
And if they ever, for some reason, were to break up, it would be crushing.
Oh, absolutely. They are so cute together. And I mean, obviously, we don't know what their relationship looks like behind the scenes. But from what we see so far, it looks like a very healthy, loving relationship and marriage. And anytime you can laugh with your significant other and just have a great time, especially in front of people like this, it just shows you, how great they are together. So we'll see what happens if they'll get cracking on those 4 kids or not.
The only time will tell, as we like to say. Let's take a little look north of the border at what's going on with our neighbors to the north in Canada. It's no secret, Ali. Tensions have been a bit high between the United States and Canada as of late, wouldn't you say?
I would say so.
And Canadians are feeling this particularly. They're finding little ways to get back at America, to stick it to the United States or just to show their distaste.
You mean the 4 nations face-off wasn't enough?
Yeah, that wasn't enough. that wasn't good enough for those Canadians. Now, some of the ways that they've been sticking it to the United States, I can't get behind. They've been booing our American national anthem.
Yeah.
No, thank you, sir. As a Canadian, I do not
Thumbs
sign
down.
off on that.
Thumbs
I
down.
sign off on this though because I think this is fun.
Okay.
In Canada, they have renamed at many coffee shops the Americano. They no longer, on the menu, they do not have the Americano. They still have the same drink, but they call it the Canadiano. And I think that's a nice little harmless way to just be like, yeah, we're not really big fans of the United States right now. I think that's fun. I think that's okay. I think, and Ali, I don't know if you know this. There was a time in the United States, I don't even know why, we went through this little same situation with France. Do you remember when we called them freedom fries instead of French fries for some reason?
I don't remember that.
That was a thing that took place when I was
fries.
I remember being a very small child and being like, why? I don't even know.
I don't want freedom fries. I want French fries.
Yeah, what has France done so bad that we can't have their fries anymore?
I don't even think France is really the real reason why they're called French
I don't think so either. I honestly have absolutely no clue why the United States did that, but I do remember it. And so
most children are not going to know why the Canadiano happened either.
Yeah, but also it's not harming anything, right? This is just harmless fun. Harmless jabs between countries.
I'm an American patriot, and Canadians can be patriotic too.
Yeah.
And they can be patriotic by changing the Americano to the Canadiano over in Canada. That's fine. I don't think there's any harm in this at all.
Yeah. So I as a
you know what they should do though?
What is that?
They should, because I don't drink an Americano. Obviously, I don't drink coffee, but it's made with espresso shots and water. You know what they should do even further this? They should change up the recipe a little bit. Little bit of maple syrup
Add
in there.
a dab of maple.
Yep.
A dollop of maple.
That would make it a true Canadiano.
Yeah.
And that might become a popular drink all over. And the Canadiano, like the Americano, ends up going worldwide.
And that would be a real payback.
Yes.
To the United States. Yeah. You think you can make us the 51st state? We're going to make a worldwide beloved coffee drink.
Yeah.
That's never before been invented.
Maple syrup.
Yeah.
The most Canadian thing you've ever heard of.
I like that idea. I think I like that. And you say that wearing a USA sweatshirt.
I'm literally wearing a USA sweatshirt, but I have to say I wear this all the time. It's my favorite sweatshirt. I didn't plan this.
It's a big weekend in Florida. The second annual Florida Man Games have been taking place. A celebration in some ways of the stereotype that is Florida Man at this point. So it's events that revolve around things that you would expect to hear about Florida Man doing in the news. Things such as hurricane party prep, beer belly sumo wrestling, evading arrest obstacle course, which I love that one, and grocery aisle brawl, as well as human beer pong. Ali, have you heard of this before? The Florida Man Games?
I have not heard of this. Obviously, we've all heard of Florida Man. Everybody was doing the whole look up your birthday and put Florida Man in, the Google search bar and see what comes up, and that's your Florida Man story. Mm-hmm. So I'm not surprised that somebody decided to capitalize on that by creating a Florida Man contest.
Yeah. The highlights look really fun. It looks like a good time. I'm curious if I lived in Florida, would would I want to go and view this? I feel like
Right.
I'd want to participate, actually.
I could see you doing that.
Do you think, now Florida Man's been a thing for a long time now.
Right.
Like it's really like everybody's parents and grandparents know about Florida
Yeah,
Man.
like over 10 years now.
But Ohio has become is like breathing down Florida's neck has become, like for the next generation, it's become another bastion of chaos.
Yes.
Do you think the Ohio Olympics could be a thing soon that like kind of draft off of Florida Man's success?
Yeah, I think Ohio Man and Ohio Woman games should definitely come up next because I feel like we don't only get the Ohio Man articles, we get the Ohio Woman articles too, and those ones are just as crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I think Ohio is taken. And here's the thing: is like we know that the Ohio to Florida pipeline is a real thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So it just makes sense.
Nikki's a part of the Florida pipeline. No, I don't know what events we would hold in the Ohio version.
There has to be something with golf carts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think it could be maybe the Ohio Man games are like a qualifier for the Florida Man games or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't. So
regional qualifier.
I don't know. I don't have any vision for events or anything. I do think it should be a thing, but I do want credit and a portion of the proceeds or whatever for calling it Ohio Olympics, because that's what it should be. The Ohio Olympics.
Yeah. That's a great name. It's a great name.
Yeah. You're welcome. The event organizers that will do this one day. Absolutely.
Yep.
Thanks for listening to The Hudson Show. Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast.